started, the passengers all jumped out and gave covering fire and formed a circle around the glider facing outwards, because there was gunshots all around the place, sort of thing, from the Germans and our own people. And Blackie and I stayed in the glider for a while because we'd been working pretty hard for 3.5 hours and getting thirsty. And we had a thermos flask in the car, in the glider, and so we were drinking coffee with our feet 3 foot above the ground and well protected from gunshot wounds by perspex and 2-ply construction of the glider.
Well, that was pretty casual. It was pretty dangerous, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, that's the usual thing with us.
So the first thing you're thinking of is not running for cover, but to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Was it a nice cup of coffee?
Oh yeah. Glorious after 3.5 hours, wasn't it? Yeah. It is in this sort of vegetation, woods and things, and I was taken prisoner. I was in a slit trench there, pretending to be dead. And I didn't know where the squadron headquarters had gone, so I had to stay there until I could find out what had happened. And meantime, the Germans came over from the eastern side there towards me, and one looked down at me, and that was one of the finest acting points of my career, because he thought I was dead. I was trying to pretend to be dead there. I thought, this is great, I can do this again. So about an hour later, there was still a lot of Germans in here, and they were talking their heads off, so I couldn't move for a while. And then, as I said, an hour later, another German came in. I must have blinked my eyes or something. He said, come, for you the war is over, more or less, you know. And so made me put my hands up. I offered me an English cigarette, which had come from resupply, which had dropped in the wrong place. And he took me to the little school, which is in the eastern side of the woods here somewhere. So you can see the tangled growth of the area itself. It was quite thick. Visibility is very near. It's a bad defensive position. No, I won't go down there now.
Okay, maybe I like to show Tim the house.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about this place.
I was in that house in September 44, Sunday 17th. But there was another house this is a rebuilt new house. What we were waiting for the liberation by the British Army. And over there, behind that house, the German SS Panzer Division was there. And that was the reason that our house went in flames. I do remember the Sunday when the parachutists were landing, paratroopers were landing, but we couldn't see it because there are so many trees in between. But someone was telling us that. And what we also saw, that the Germans were escaping from that road back to Arnhem. And they escaped on 3 people on one bike, and it was completely chaos. And they were so frightened to meet the Tommies. Tommies, they call them. That was what we met. And on the evening, the people were walking around that hedge over there, and we didn't know were Germans or English. But in the early morning, we have heard the voices, and it was really English spoken. So my mother said, no, there's no danger, and they let them come in. And 3 soldiers came in and went to the attic. And from the attic you can see over there, when you're staying high in the house, the German border. And that was the point, that they want to be in our house. But yeah, they have been there for a couple of hours and I've never seen them back. I should like, I could have some contact, but it's 85 years, 58 years ago, so I don't think it is possible.
Was it very frightening?
Yeah.
The day it happened, tell me how frightened you were.
Yeah, I was about 15 years old. I was not so frightened by myself. I think, no, everything is coming well, so we trusted the British troops.
So it was exciting then?
Yeah, it was exciting, but not that I couldn't sleep or think like that, no. We were waiting for the liberation. That was the point.
This is where the hospital was, where I spent about a week after capture. I don't recognise any of it because I understand from the shop there that this place was taken down, the hospital was taken down about 7 or 8 years ago. So it's entirely new. It's now a lot of flats. I spent a week here, nearly a week. I was in charge of the burial party, and we buried about 19 of our comrades who died in hospital here. At the end of the week, I was friendly with the little pharmacist in the hospital, and he seemed to be in contact with the underground, and he told me that the Germans were ready to pull out because they expected the tank brigades to come over the bridge into Arnhem. But this was not true, instead of which the Germans dug in and retained the control of Arnhem itself, and I was taken out to the hospital, taken to Arnhem itself, and shipped off to Apeldoorn on the border, on the Dutch-German border.
How did the Germans treat you when they captured you?
Oh, they didn't treat me at all, well, negative, shall we say. Because when we got to Appledorn, we were put into a large number of us were put into a railway shed, slept the night on the straw there, and then shipped the following day into cattle wagons. About 30 of us in each cattle wagon, and we were confined to the cattle wagon for a whole 4 days without any food, without being able to get outside, and without any food or drink or anything. One of our chaps paid a German £1 note for a cup of water. There's not enough room for everybody to lie down and sleep on the floor, on the straw. I did have 1 square meal. I shared an oxo cube with one of our chaps, and that's the lot we had in that 4 days.
Yes, that's right.
And it is
This is Len. This is Len.
Who is this? Len what?
Len.
Len.
Len. I can't. I'm too old. I can't bring them.
Because you are on the photograph, and Bill is on the photograph. But I asked Barry, the conservator at this house, to make a big copy.
We'll go there and try to have a coffee there and then go sit.
Te veranderen. 11.500 mannen zweefden uit de lucht om.
When the lights go on again all over the world and the boys come home again all over the world, and rain or snow is all that may fall from the skies above. A kiss won't mean goodbye, but hello to love. When the lights go on again all over the world, and the ships will sail again all over the world, then we'll have time for things like wedding rings, and free hearts will sing when the light